I was barefoot in the creek, mud squishing between my toes as I patched the fence when I heard it, the low grind of metal chewing wood. At first, I thought thunder was rolling in, but the sky was clear. Then I saw the dust, rising like smoke behind the ridge. I sprinted uphill, soaked jeans sticking to my legs, heart pounding, and when I crested the rise, my world stopped. Two bulldozers were tearing into my grandfather's barn, the one that stood for 3 generations. Walls splintered, beams cracked, and in less than 20 minutes, history was rubble. And at the center of it all stood Karen Gerland, smoothie in one hand, clipboard in the other, smiling like she'd just done me a favor. "You're welcome," she cooed. "I fixed your property." My fists curled so tight I drew blood biting my cheek. That barn wasn't just wood and nails, it was memory, it was family, and she flattened it like trash. I'm Jake Walker, 6 months into life on 5 acres in the mountains, off-grid, simple, free. That barn was our landmark, rebuilt after storms, patched after fire, always standing proud. And now it was gone. Karen didn't live on these mountains. She lived down in the valley, where she ran Lakeview Retreat, a fake rustic resort for city folks who wanted to play cowboy without getting their shoes dirty. She claimed my barn was unsafe, said it ruined her guests' ambiance. So she forged hazard complaints, filed fake citations, and hired contractors without permits. By the time the sheriff showed, it was too late. He flipped through her nonsense paperwork, sighed, and muttered, "This is a civil matter." I was left with splinters, ashes in my chest, and a decision. That night, I sat on the porch listening to the creek that ran past the ridge. And then I remembered. Karen had rerouted that very creek 2 years ago, burying a hidden pipe to feed her artificial lake. At the time, I let it slide. But after the barn, not anymore. Before dawn, I hiked up with a shovel, mesh, and cement. Birds chirped as I uncovered her pipe. I packed it with rocks, mesh wire, and quick-set cement. By sunrise, the water stopped flowing downhill. That evening, her resort lights flickered. Paddle boat sat in cracked mud. Her koi pond shriveled. Guests demanded refunds. Meanwhile, I sipped coffee, calm stone. 20 minutes later, she stormed up in her golf cart, shrieking, "You blocked the stream!" I didn't even raise my voice. "The one that starts on my land? The one you rerouted without permission?" She sputtered, red in the face. "That water was shared!" "No, Karen. Shared means you ask, not steal." The sheriff showed again. When I showed him photos of her pipe, he just sighed. Unless she proves an easement, there's nothing she can do. Her jaw dropped. But I wasn't finished. Digging through my grandfather's old deed, I found a clause from 1942, exclusive diversion rights to the upper creek. And the kicker? Those rights expired if the lower land was ever developed commercially. Her resort had voided her claim the second she poured concrete. I filed a cease and desist, demanded removal of her spa encroachments, return of stolen water, and full compensation for the barn, all within 72 hours. When she refused, I leaked photos to the local press. Headlines blared, "Mountain Rancher Fights Back in Water War." Guests fled, online reviews tanked. And then, karma hit harder than I ever could. Her spa's foundation cracked. The soil destabilized by her rerouted creek. The pipes she laid illegally, they collapsed her own business. She tried sneaking in new pipes at night. I caught her workers, floodlit them with my flashlight, and told them, 60 seconds to leave or I call the sheriff. They left gear behind in their panic. Court day came. Packed hall. Karen showed up late, frazzled, screaming about terrorism. Judge Rayburn, a mountain native, wasn't amused. He looked over the deeds, water rights, photos, and shook his head. "You built on stolen land, stole water, destroyed history, and harmed your neighbor. This ends today." He ordered full restitution for my barn, fines for illegal diversion, and immediate removal of her spa structures. The crowd applauded. Karen stormed out, screaming into her phone. Within weeks, her resort went bankrupt. Rumor is she sold everything and left the valley. As for me, neighbors showed up with tools and stories. Together, we rebuilt the barn, not an exact replica, but stronger, prouder, our initials carved into beams like my grandfather once did. Now, when I sit on the ridge with Duke, my old shepherd, watching the creek flow steady and free, I don't feel anger. I feel peace. Karen wanted to erase my family's legacy. Instead, she lost hers. Because mountains don't forget, and water always finds its way home. So tell me, if someone bulldozed your family's history or stole your water, what would you do? Would you fight back like I did, or let it go? Don't forget to subscribe for more tales of defiance, justice, and a little mountain karma.